Please enter any questions or comments you have in the chat feature. If you would like to utilize closed captioning, you may do so by clicking the closed captioning icon in the lower left-hand corner of your screen. I'm joined by my colleagues who will introduce themselves, starting with Joe Colessa. Joe?
Hello, my name is Joe Colessa. I'm Deputy Director for Transportation and Public Works. Jeff?
Hello, I'm Jeff Davis, Project Manager Supervisor for St. Louis County. Karen?
Hello, I'm Karen Jones. I'm Project Manager for the Transportation Department.
I am John Shrewsbury. I'm in the Planning Division of Transportation and Public Works.
And I'm Ray Golick, South Area Engineer, St. Louis County Department of Transportation.
So we're going to play a brief video that discusses the Barrett Station project. And then after that, we'll pause and take time for questions and comments.
Hello, and thank you for attending this meeting. We are happy to share information about St. Louis County's plans for improvements along Barrett Station Road. During this presentation, we will review the project location, the proposed improvements, project timeline, and the project budget. We will open the chat for questions after the presentation. This project is located along Barrett Station Road from Big Bend Road to Doherty Ferry Road. The limits are shown here in red. The project improvements are approximately 1.2 miles in length. Here's a look at the existing conditions. The top image shows the poor conditions of the pavement along Barrett Station Road. The images below show a drainage pipe in need of replacement, storm sewer needing debris cleaned up, and a traffic signal at Doherty Ferry that's aging and needs upgrading. The county's plan to improve this corridor includes repairs and resurfacing of the pavement, improvements to pedestrian crossings, and constructing ADA-compliant curb ramps. There will be traffic signal upgrades, including yellow arrows for left turn safety and roadside units for emergency services preemption and data collection. And finally, proposed ditch cleaning and pipe replacements will improve drainage. This project will begin at Doherty Ferry Road. Improvements will include signal replacements at the intersection, concrete median islands rebuilt with pedestrian cut-throughs, and partial sidewalk replacements. Through this section, the pavement resurfacing will continue to the southeast and introduce drainage improvements on the east side of the road at Old Doherty Ferry Road and Barrett Station Road. The pavement resurfacing will continue until it reaches the bridge. To improve pedestrian crossings, new rectangular rapid flashing beacons, RRFBs, will be installed, as well as a new crosswalk and curb ramps to service the Transportation Museum. This will improve driver awareness and safety. Examples of RRFBs can be viewed on the county's website. The shaded areas marked TSCL are temporary property rights that we're requesting from the property owners to construct the planned improvements. That portion of the land is still owned by the property owner. The shaded areas marked as PSE are permanent property rights. We request to continue to maintain the sidewalk improvements. The pavement resurfacing will then continue on the other side of the bridge in the eastern direction. Curb ramps will be installed at Trossick Lane to provide pedestrian access to the existing sidewalk. As you can see from this slide, the pavement resurfacing continues east. The northern side will have drainage improvements. The existing head wall and crossroad culvert will be replaced to help resolve the drainage issues that have been reported by residents throughout this corridor. The pavement resurfacing continues east, as well as drainage improvements. The approach to Barrett Crossing Court will be replaced due to poor conditions. The pavement resurfacing continues to Barrett Station Road and Big Bend Road, where signal improvements are proposed. The project resurfacing ends at Big Bend Road. Here's a look at the project timeline. The county has recently begun design engineering, and it has finished the conceptual phase, which is being shared as part of this public meeting. The design will continue through 2026, where we will begin the right-of-way acquisition phase. That's scheduled to begin in 2026. After the necessary right-of-way has been acquired, the design will be finalized, and the project will be bid in 2028 with construction planned for 2029. The overall project costs are shown here. The anticipated total cost of the project is approximately $2.5 million. It includes design engineering, right-of-way acquisitions, project construction, and inspection costs. The county submitted a competitive application for funding assistance, with the project being selected for federal reimbursement during construction. As a result, county taxpayers will see the benefit of saving over $1 million for the project. And that concludes our presentation. Thank you so much for watching. At this time, we will address any questions or comments you have in the chat window. Thank you very much. 26.
We have a question posted in the chat. Statement that there are 3 crosswalks at Doherty Ferry. Will the 4th crosswalk and signal be part of the work? Aaron, can you respond to that question? Will we have a 4th crosswalk at Doherty Ferry? And
No,
another,
we're not showing it at this time.
At
It's
this,
just,
okay.
it will be just 3 crossings.
due to signal phasing, I don't think that the third crossing is permissible at this time.
Okay. Misty, maybe you could jump back to that first or second slide showing the intersection. Another question is, how long will the project take once it begins? Jeff, maybe you can respond to that. How long would this anticipated project construction take?
Probably less than a construction season, so it depends on when they start. If we start late in the fall, but it would be one entire construction season. So if you begin in the fall, you'll probably end in the summer. So of the following year. So if you start in the spring, you probably this size project get done by the fall. It's scheduled for 2029. It just depends on when it goes out to bid.
Alrighty. Will there be any restriping to allow for bicycle or lane and pedestrian lanes from the bridge, the railroad bridge, to Big Bend Road? Aaron, you want to take that one, or Jeff? Any restriping for bike lanes?
There's no restriping for bike lanes currently.
Yeah, I don't think the road widths will permit it.
Are we adding any new sidewalk along this route? And so follow up, will pedestrians be able to walk from Big Bend all the way to Doherty Ferry?
There's no plan to add sidewalk through that whole entire stretch of the roadway.
This project is scoped primarily as a maintenance project and does not include major improvements such as sidewalk.
We will be replacing deteriorated sections and displaced sections as needed, and doing curb ramp improvements at the street locations, and at the course of, as you see in this slide, at the intersection of Doherty Ferry.
The next question is similar. Is there any possibility of additional sidewalk along Barrett Station? And along with that, any improvements to the degrading bridge over the creek? Are you familiar with the bridge, a bridge over the creek? There is.
Yeah, I think it's by Old, is it Old Darty Ferry? I think it is near.
Old Darty Ferry.
Yes, it's
Yeah, the bridge engineer is aware of the project, and he has no upgrades scheduled with this project, this maintenance project. This is mainly for resurfacing and the asphalt surface and ADA improvements and a few traffic signal upgrades. The bridge project would be a project of its own when it becomes necessary.
Yeah, typically bridge projects are separate projects.
The bridge is inspected on a schedule, and they keep track of that.
Question for the Barrett Crossing Court entrance. You know, where we are resurfacing that approach. Any idea of how long that particular improvement will take? Jeff, maybe you can respond to that one.
Remind me, Karen, are we resurfacing or full rebuild on that one?
full replacement of
Full
that.
replacement.
Mm.
They would do half of the time. It hasn't yet determined what type of concrete they would use. We would always provide access to the subdivision at all times. It may go down to a one-lane road situation. But yeah, probably each half would take up to 5 to 6 days, possibly. So for both halves to be finished, you're talking probably a 2-week process at the most.
All right, thank you. Are there any improvements planned to, well, the same question we already answered. Are there any plans, any improvement plans for the bridge over the creek? And no, not with this project. Similar question, plan for the bridge and the sidewalk. We've responded that there is no new sidewalk and no bridge replacement under this project. This is strictly a resurfacing project.
So John, let me speak to the sidewalk issue.
Yes.
So we program new sidewalks in conformance with our action plan for walking and biking. We have very limited resources for new improvements such as continuous sidewalk and bike paths. The action plan for walking and biking sets the prioritization for the projects where we will consider those types of improvements. The Barrett Station corridor, according to that study, is a low impact corridor, meaning that we have a lot of projects and a lot of locations where we would make that investment before we will be programming it for the Barrett Station corridor. Because of that prioritization, it'll be some time, at least till the next resurfacing, when we could even consider such a project.
Do we know the width of the question is, what is the width of the sidewalk? Is that, I presume that if there's current sidewalk out there, is it 4 foot or 5 foot? Aaron or Jeff, can you respond to that?
Being such a mixed section out there and portions being built at various times, I know we have a minimum 4-foot widths, but I think near the railroad bridge that was built within my career at the county, that might be up to 6 feet if it's back at back a curb. But yeah, I couldn't speak for the continuous of it, but there's at least 4 feet where the sidewalk exists. I think there's too many different sections throughout.
There's a question, is there a plan for the intersection of Old Barrett Station and Barrett Station Road? We have a stop control signal, a stop sign there.
Old Barrett Station, is that correct, Karen?
Yes.
Yes, currently there's a stop at the old Doherty Ferry side, but there's no signal or that manner being proposed there. It's just stop control.
Yeah, we're going to pave the main line of Barrett Station Road, but we're not going down Old Doherty Ferry or any of the other connecting streets.
Yeah.
We had a comment, gentlemen would prefer not to lose vegetation to a sidewalk. So we'll keep that in mind in the future. Sidewalk project is not anticipated at this time. As was explained through our action plan, we prioritize sidewalk projects based upon the ratings in the action plan for walking and biking.
Yeah, I can't recall any areas that there would be any kind of vegetation removal at this time. We are still in the preliminary phase of the project. The most invasive would be some of the culverts that are going to be replaced, and of course some of the side street approaches. But I wouldn't anticipate any tree removal with this project.
Next question is, how will resurfacing affect egress for houses on Barrett Station? Jeff, maybe you can respond to that one when they're resurfacing the roadway.
Yeah, it is a 2-lane road. It will be most likely a flagging operation. Shouldn't be any shutdowns of the road for the paving operation itself. It'll be a moving construction zone as they go down and pave through the area with the flagging team moving with it. With it being just 2-lane, I haven't looked at the tonnage, but you're probably looking at hopefully less than a week process. But you would always have access to all your residents at all times, just under a flagging operation during paving. Kind of looking at I don't have an estimate on the tonnage right now.
So similar question, will the road be blocked at any time during construction for access to our homes?
No, just momentarily delays for construction equipment movements and such like that. But with the 2-lane road operation, you will experience flagging operation periodically through the construction, with the paving operations being the most significant traffic disruption as a continuous movement, continuous part of the project. But yeah, there won't be any long delays, no.
Next question, is there any plans for stop signs between the bridge and Big Bend to slow down traffic on this portion? Very common for speeders in that area.
There are no stop signs planned for this project. I don't know, they wouldn't warrant a stop sign at a bridge that I know of any situation, just low traffic with those types of situations. They mainly install stop signs at intersections.
The question about a left on yellow arrow, conflict with pedestrians. I'm presuming that's at Doherty Ferry intersection. Are we're going to have flashing yellow arrows at that intersection, correct?
Yes.
Yeah,
there's
show
a-
me out there. Thank you.
Yes, there's a crash history which shows that flashing yellow arrows will improve safety at this intersection.
And a follow-up question, why did we not apply for an 80-20% split for funding on this?
All of these projects are competitive in nature, and there's a complex scoring rubric attached with that competitive process. We try to maximize score. Cost is one of those components to that score. So in this case, to be competitive, we submitted at I believe 65-35 split on this particular project.
Yeah.
And we're successful in obtaining the grant.
Next question, are these slides available? We will be posting a recording of this meeting, and so these images on the video that you've seen, the entire video is included in the recording, so it will be available after this meeting. We'll post this recording on our project website, which I will put a link to the project website here in the chat so that you can all find that more easily. And that'll lead you to the Barrett Station resurfacing project webpage that gives all the details of this project timeline, the general scope, and contact information if you need to follow up and get in touch with the county. We have our area engineer's name and email address on their phone number. You can reach out at any time with any questions. And we will be posting this video within the next few days following this meeting tonight. So there's a couple of comments further in the chat box. One would prefer a sidewalk to vegetation. Another individual indicates even more details on the changes to the signaling at Doherty Ferry. Jeff, maybe you could speak to that. What's the status of the design is fairly preliminary at this point. We have more work to do on that, is it correct?
Correct. Yes, we're still at the preliminary phase. The next phase would be right away, and then we would start working towards final plan development.
Following up to Mr. Carmody's 4-foot sidewalk question, is that ADA compliant? Yes, the minimum for ADA is a 4-foot sidewalk. We often use a 5-foot sidewalk in new construction, and if the sidewalk is located close to at the back of a curb, we'll make a 6-foot wide sidewalk. But 4-foot sidewalk is the minimum as required by ADA and ProWag.
Yeah, I'm looking through the preliminary plans. Looks like most of the project is 4-foot, but 1 or a little bit of section down by the bridge might be 4 feet.
There's a comment about some trees or bushes, aborvites, on a property going east at the intersection of Doherty Ferry and Barrett Station. If there's a issue with vegetation that's causing a difficulty in clear view for drivers, we'll address that. If it's in the right of way and it's blocking view for drivers or pedestrians for that matter, we'll clear that area. To comment, there are 2 intersections coming out of Barrett Bray where stop signs could be installed. We'll install a stop sign if there is enough traffic to warrant that, and there's conditions that go along with that. They could be we can analyze that. We'll take a look at it with our operations folks to determine if there are warrants for a stop sign at Barrett Bray. Here's a follow-up to a previous. How about when they resurface right in front of the driveway to our house? This is the only way in and out. Question is, will this not block us in?
Momentarily, when the mill passes by, and that's a pretty quick operation. Then there'll be a cleaning operation right behind that, which you will be allowed to move in and out. They usually place some emulsified tack down to bind the surface, the existing surface with the new asphalt. They'll try to keep you across that from crossing that so you don't get on your vehicle, and then they will follow with the asphalt immediately after that. They'll do a quick few rolls with the roller, and they will allow you to permit you to pass at that point. The tack does bind up, and they try to keep you try to notify the motorists in these driveways to prevent them from driving across it for those brief short periods of time while it's going on. But it's a pretty quick process. People get nervous about it, but it's generally in and out of there quicker than you think.
Another question is, how long do we anticipate the work to take overall? The entire construction time, I think, Jeff, you described that earlier. It really depends on when we begin the project. The common construction season is summertime. If this project would begin in the fall, we will not be paving the road during the winter, and then pavement would extend into the following construction season. So it could be somewhere on the order of 9 to 12 months. Would that be reasonable, Jeff?
With this project, with the lack of the addition of sidewalk and concrete that's being poured out there, probably could be done a lot quicker. Could be done within probably 3/4 of a construction season. I haven't analyzed the how much would be done, but I would anticipate if they would start in March, they probably could get this thing ready to resurface with the amount of the intersection work is probably the longest period of time construction, and probably 5-6 months. Yeah. Like I said, we're still in the preliminary stage, and we don't know the extent of the work to be done.
Can you speak to the signal changes at all that we're considering at Doherty Ferry that are in the preliminary stage of design?
I believe it's a full signal replacement there to upgrade the mast arms, install new signal heads. The signal heads should get the yellow placards for safety measures. And like we talked about before with the flashing yellows that improve safety. We'll also be adding ADA buttons that are more accessible for the crossings. They are APS, so they will have the ability to beep or speak to persons with disabilities to help them identify the crossings. Joe, am I missing anything?
No, sir.
So there are improvements to the safety at that intersection
Yes.
with the APS push buttons, the accessible push buttons for pedestrians, the full signal replacement at
Yep. Installation of flashing yellow arrows, and we're going to use high visibility crosswalk markings.
And the placards that go along the sides of the signal heads to help highlight the signal head a little bit better at night.
another safety countermeasure, isn't it?
Also, I believe we're installing smart technology with this one that help with response with emergency vehicles.
That's correct. There is the device that we'll be installing at this signal that gives preemption to emergency vehicles. So if they have equipment on board on their vehicles, that will allow them to get a green light and pass through the signal. There's a question, what would be an indication for stop signs if you cannot provide pedestrian and bike lanes, at least slow down the traffic? I don't believe placing stop signs on Barrett Station would help to slow down the traffic. In fact, it does cause more issues if you if you place a stop sign where one is not truly warranted to control traffic flow. There's enough traffic on Barrett Station, being that it is a more of a collector road for all the streets that connect to it, that having a stop sign would not be warranted in that case. It's not the type of traffic situation that would require or warrant a stop sign. I have a comment to repeat this in 2029. This is projected to start and complete. I guess having this information on the website, it'll be available throughout the life of this project. As we get further along in design, closer to construction, you can always reach out to the county to get more information on. And we try to hold these meetings early in the project design phase when we're working on preliminary plans in order to share with you what we're doing and give you a better idea of when construction will take place. Question about Big Bend signals, will they be replaced or upgraded?
You want to handle that one?
The signal upgrade.
Yeah, the plan, Karen, it indicates a partial signal replacement.
Yes.
Question, will the flashing yellow arrows conflict with the walk signal for pedestrians?
Flashing yellow, conflicting with walk. I believe that would be a red call, wouldn't it? It would stop.
Brad, can your team speak to that?
Yeah, so really, I hope you can hear me all right. I'm on a webcam mic, but yeah, these flashing yellow arrows are essentially there to supplement the typical green ball where you would be required to yield to pedestrians anyway. It just makes it more clear to the driver that there are potential crossings and other hazards there, including oncoming traffic. So yeah, they're not meant to replace. You know, a yellow arrow doesn't mean that you don't have to yield anymore. It's just identifying to the driver that you know, to take caution. It's a little bit more clear than a green ball in that sense.
Thanks for handling that, Brad. I don't design signal timing.
Jeff or Karen, do we have a lane width on Barrett Station Road?
Go ahead, Karen, if you know it. I was just looking into it myself.
Ranges in certain sections it's 10 feet and the other sections 11.
With some 12-foot turn lanes.
Yes.
And one more question, will there be any pothole repairs before the project? Well, we're always monitoring roadways and if you have a specific location or generally the whole project length, that's fine. We can send our district manager that covers this area, part of the county, and he can inspect and make repairs and that, because it is a long way before construction comes about to resurface this road. So we can put a request into the district manager to specifically inspect and repair any potholes on Barrett Station Road. Ray, perhaps you can send a request in on that.
Yes, I'll do it.
All right.
And whenever potholes are observed, please don't hesitate to call our service request line so we can mobilize a team.
Yeah, the service request line is a good way of getting things taken care of.
There's a comment that MoDOT signs yield to pedestrian. Will you with the yellow arrows? I'm not sure, Jeff, do we have a specific sign?
We will take that under advisement, Mr. Carmody. We'll look at it. It is not our standard practice at the moment.
Another comment I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to answer the next one. While it is not in the current plans, please consider adding a crosswalk on the north side of Doherty Ferry intersection. Otherwise, there are a lot of walkers that have to use 2 or 3 crosswalks if they don't have to jaywalk. We have ordered a updated traffic count and classification for that intersection so that we can evaluate whether or not we can add that additional leg.
All right, we have run through the list of questions in the chat. Well, here's one more. Is it a safe system practice yield to pedestrian on conflicts? I'm not really clear what that question or comment is.
Yeah, I was trying to, is it safe system? Yeah, I think that had to be rewarded. I think probably a good time to maybe rerun through the program. Give them a chance to reword that.
All right, we need to, given the fact there may have been a few folks joining us late here, Misty, could you please rerun the video from the beginning and we can watch and give everyone a chance to see the full video?
Certainly.
One more
Here
time.
we go.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Hello, and thank you for attending this meeting. We are happy to share information about St. Louis County's plans for improvements along Barrett Station Road. During this presentation, we will review the project location, the proposed improvements, project timeline, and the project budget. We will open the chat for questions after the presentation. This project is located along Barrett Station Road from Big Bend Road to Doherty Ferry Road. The limits are shown here in red. The project improvements are approximately 1.2 miles in length. Here's a look at the existing conditions. The top image shows the poor conditions of the pavement along Barrett Station Road. The images below show a drainage pipe in need of replacement, storm sewer needing debris cleaned up, and a traffic signal at Doherty Ferry that's aging and needs upgrading. The county's plan to improve this corridor includes repairs and resurfacing of the pavement, improvements to pedestrian crossings, and constructing ADA-compliant curb ramps. There will be traffic signal upgrades, including yellow arrows for left turn safety and roadside units for emergency services preemption and data collection. And finally, proposed ditch cleaning and pipe replacements will improve drainage. This project will begin at Doherty Ferry Road. Improvements will include signal replacements at the intersection, concrete median islands rebuilt with pedestrian cut-throughs, and partial sidewalk replacements. Through this section, the pavement resurfacing will continue to the southeast and introduce drainage improvements on the east side of the road at Old Doherty Ferry Road and Barrett Station Road. The pavement resurfacing will continue until it reaches the bridge. To improve pedestrian crossings, new rectangular rapid flashing beacons, RRFBs, will be installed, as well as a new crosswalk and curb ramps to service the Transportation Museum. This will improve driver awareness and safety. Examples of RRFBs can be viewed on the county's website. The shaded areas marked TSCL are temporary property rights that we're requesting from the property owners to construct the planned improvements. That portion of the land is still owned by the property owner. The shaded areas marked as PSE are permanent property rights. We request to continue to maintain the sidewalk improvements. The pavement resurfacing will then continue on the other side of the bridge in the eastern direction. Curb ramps will be installed at Trossick Lane to provide pedestrian access to the existing sidewalk. As you can see from this slide, the pavement resurfacing continues east. The northern side will have drainage improvements. The existing head wall and crossroad culvert will be replaced to help resolve the drainage issues that have been reported by residents throughout this corridor. The pavement resurfacing continues east, as well as drainage improvements. The approach to Barrett Crossing Court will be replaced due to poor conditions. The pavement resurfacing continues to Barrett Station Road and Big Bend Road, where signal improvements are proposed. The project resurfacing ends at Big Bend Road. Here's a look at the project timeline. The county has recently begun design engineering, and it has finished the conceptual phase, which is being shared as part of this public meeting. The design will continue through 2026, where we will begin the right-of-way acquisition phase. That's scheduled to begin in 2026. After the necessary right-of-way has been acquired, the design will be finalized, and the project will be bid in 2028 with construction planned for 2029. The overall project costs are shown here. The anticipated total cost of the project is approximately $2.5 million. It includes design engineering, right-of-way acquisitions, project construction, and inspection costs. The county submitted a competitive application for funding assistance, with the project being selected for federal reimbursement during construction. As a result, county taxpayers will see the benefit of saving over $1 million for the project. And that concludes our presentation. Thank you so much for watching. At this time, we will address any questions or comments you have in the chat window. Thank you very much. Here's
Thank you, Misty. And yes, if you do have any questions or comments, please place them in the chat. By the way, I did put a link to the project webpage, the St. Louis County Transportation and Public Works website for Barrett Station Road. And on that project site, there is an information sheet on the rapid flashing beacon that we propose to install near the Museum of Transport there. There's a crosswalk that will receive a rapid flashing beacon devices.
Again, if you have any more questions or comments, please put them in the chat. Thank you.
I like the thanks comments. Karen worked so hard on the presentation. You want to just run it again? You're muted.
Misty, why don't you run the video one more time? We may prompt some.
John, there's a new question in the
Yep.
chat.
All right,
I was just
here's a
bring-
question. What about the sharp turn after Ozark Drive?
Let's look.
John, I can speak to that if you'd like.
Yes, please.
Certainly.
Yeah, I'm assuming you're talking about the Barry. You're talking about the turn there by the kind of west of Ozark Drive towards Old Dougherty Ferry. So there's a known issue there with the power pole. being very close to the edge of pavement. So that's something our team's looking at, is to see if we can potentially relocate that to a better spot so that it doesn't get sideswiped. And then also, I don't know if we mentioned it, but having wider outside pavement markings, like 6-inch wide pavement markings, just to make it easier to see where that pavement drop off is. So those are two of the things we're doing there on that turn.
I hope our viewer can listen. It was a little hard to hear you, Brad. And if you can move your mic a little closer. I'll see if they caught all that. But thank you for answering.
There's another question in the chat. Can skinny lanes be any wider? Brad, if you could speak to that, please.
Yeah, so just to be clear, Barrett Station Road, what we're doing now is really preserving what's already there before it gets worse. So this is not a widening project. This project isn't going to fundamentally change traffic patterns or add lanes or any of that. It's a maintenance project with some safety additions in there. So yeah, no lane widening or shoulder widening, but we will have wider edge lines just so that it's easier for the motorist to see where that edge drop off is. There's a lot of places where we just don't have the space, and that edge drop off leads into a 2-foot wide ditch that can really snag your tire if you can't see it. So that's where the pavement marking improvements come in, just to make it a little easier for the motorist. But yeah, not fundamentally changing the pavement structure here on this project.
Thanks for covering it, Brad, and you can hear you better. Appreciate you making that change.
There's another question about is there any way to get people to slow down around that blind turn?
We currently do have directional arrows on the outside of that curve to give people an indication of a sharp curve. And we will be retaining those signs.
So, John, sorry, I don't think I spoke up loudly enough last time, but one of the issues there is there's a power pole on the inside of that corner that we are looking at potentially getting Ameren to relocate to a better position, because this is encouraging motorists with how close it is to the roadway. It is encouraging motorists sometimes to encroach into the other lane just due to how close their mirror gets to that pole. So hopefully resolving that issue will also make it more predictable and less of a blind turn, if you will.
Thank you, Brad.
There's just a couple more comments in the chat about moving the pole would be helpful, and the blind turn because the turn is blind and many people speed through it. So we have 4 minutes left in the chat. Did you all want me to replay this video again, or do we want to chat about anything?
You can play it one more time, Misty, in case anyone has any last comments.
Certainly. Here we go.
Hello, and thank you for attending this meeting. We are happy to share information about St. Louis County's plans for improvements along Barrett Station Road. During this presentation, we will review the project location, the proposed improvements, project timeline, and the project budget. We will open the chat for questions after the presentation. This project is located along Barrett Station Road from Big Bend Road to Doherty Ferry Road. The limits are shown here in red. The project improvements are approximately 1.2 miles in length. Here's a look at the existing conditions. The top image shows the poor conditions of the pavement along Barrett Station Road. The images below show a drainage pipe in need of replacement, storm sewer needing debris cleaned up, and a traffic signal at Doherty Ferry that's aging and needs upgrading. The county's plan to improve this corridor includes repairs and resurfacing of the pavement, improvements to pedestrian crossings, and constructing ADA-compliant curb ramps. There will be traffic signal upgrades, including yellow arrows for left turn safety and roadside units for emergency services preemption and data collection. And finally, proposed ditch cleaning and pipe replacements will improve drainage. This project will begin at Doherty Ferry Road. Improvements will include signal replacements at the intersection, concrete median islands rebuilt with pedestrian cut-throughs, and partial sidewalk replacements. Through this section, the pavement resurfacing will continue to the southeast and introduce drainage improvements on the east side of the road at Old Doherty Ferry Road and Barrett Station Road. The pavement resurfacing will continue until it reaches the bridge. To improve pedestrian crossings, new rectangular rapid flashing beacons, RRFBs, will be installed, as well as a new crosswalk and curb ramps to service the Transportation Museum. This will improve driver awareness and safety. Examples of RRFBs can be viewed on the county's website. The shaded areas marked TSCL are temporary property rights that we're requesting from the property owners to construct the planned improvements. That portion of the land is still owned by the property owner. The shaded areas marked as PSE are permanent property rights. We request to continue to maintain the sidewalk improvements. The pavement resurfacing will then continue on the other side of the bridge in the eastern direction. Curb ramps will be installed at Trossick Lane to provide pedestrian access to the existing sidewalk. As you can see from this slide, the pavement resurfacing continues east. The northern side will have drainage improvements. The existing head wall and crossroad culvert will be replaced to help resolve the drainage issues that have been reported by residents throughout this corridor. The pavement resurfacing continues east, as well as drainage improvements. The approach to Barrett Crossing Court will be replaced due to poor conditions. The pavement resurfacing continues to Barrett Station Road and Big Bend Road, where signal improvements are proposed. The project resurfacing ends at Big Bend Road. Here's a look at the project timeline. The county has recently begun design engineering, and it has finished the conceptual phase, which is being shared as part of this public meeting. The design will continue through 2026, where we will begin the right-of-way acquisition phase. That's scheduled to begin in 2026. After the necessary right-of-way has been acquired, the design will be finalized, and the project will be bid in 2028 with construction planned for 2029. The overall project costs are shown here. The anticipated total cost of the project is approximately $2.5 million. It includes design engineering, right-of-way acquisitions, project construction, and inspection costs. The county submitted a competitive application for funding assistance, with the project being selected for federal reimbursement during construction. As a result, county taxpayers will see the benefit of saving over $1 million for the project. And that concludes our presentation. Thank you so much for watching. At this time, we will address any questions or comments you have in the chat window. Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone, for attending this evening. If you do have any questions, please place them in the chat. We'll try and answer them before we end the meeting here in the next few minutes. So thanks again for attending. All right, if there are no other questions from the attendees, we appreciate your being with us this evening, and we will end the meeting now. Thank you very much.
Thanks, everyone. Have a nice night.
Thank you.